Hi guys, the name is Mark, and we're just going to do a quick little video here, and it's basically like what it's about is the news, okay? And the news will show you all this stuff, and the news is constantly, this is what's wrong with the world, this place is getting bombed, this place is going to war with that place, this own country is arresting its own citizens, they're backing and supporting sexual predators, and these people are allowed to run around and steal. And so this is what the news purports, and this is all the news purports. So I guess in a way, by you people watching this thinking, well, we have to know what's going on in the world today and in the news and stuff, well, by watching all this negativity and not doing anything about it, it just simply makes you complacent, okay? And that's why talk is cheap and silence is golden and actions speak louder than words, because all these words that these people are talking and using on the news and stuff, nowhere does one news channel say, if we did this today, imagine how much better we would be as a society. So always the question, people, always just simply question everything. Like they'll say, oh, we don't have money for healthcare. We owe a deficit. Well, question this and say, you know what? Well, I guess today we don't owe any money, and that makes completely no sense whatsoever. And there is no deficit, and we have unlimited free healthcare. We're simply going to print off some greenbacks here, okay? And again, like everything you seem to do, it's always a catch 22 where what a catch 22 is, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Like, for example, they say, like, you don't want to go to war. And they say, well, we're going to send you off to war. Okay, we're going to draft you. So meanwhile, you decide, listen, I'm not about to go harming my fellow man. I was told that it was illegal, and all of a sudden, wait, now it's legal? I'm getting confused here. But nonetheless, you're told not to kill people, and then you don't want to go to war. So what does the government do? Well, they arrest you and court martial you and put you in jail. You follow me? This is the catch 22, where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So clearly you can see there's no way out of this, and this is all the news ever purports, is that there's no way out of this. We're all doomed, and we're all effectively basically going to hell. It's this serious, people. But we don't have to go to hell. We've been in hell long enough. We've had enough of hell. It's hell, go home, fuck off. You follow me, right? So we don't have to use these old methods and ways anymore. They no longer serve us. But anyhow, and how many channels do you ever truly watch where somebody offers you the solution? And then people will say, well, that's fine, you're talking about this, but do you know how many people it would take to put this together? Well, I'm sorry, but if you people can't come together and play in the same sandbox, that's not my problem. That is yours. And clearly, again, you can see what's going on here, that it is your problem. So do you want these kind of problems, or would you prefer the problem of, say, we'll simply start our own bank and we'll print off greenbacks, and this will be interest free, no usury money, other than if you want to work for it, hey, go build some roads and build some hospitals. That's it. So again, the news, this is all the news purports, is shit, and it keeps people complacent. By people are watching this, and they're complacent just in the fact that they're watching this stuff, when simply put, like if your government's tyrannical, well, I'm sorry, but overthrow them. Like why are you people are so scared of your own shadow that you've actually like given these world governments mystical powers, man, like they're god. But trust me, people, like these people aren't gods. They're criminals. They're sexual predators. Like that's it. That's all. I can go on for days and months with this stuff. So anyhow, simply put, please stop following this nonsense. If you don't like what's going on, well, stop it. Arrest it right there. Stop it in its tracks, right? Like if these people were arrested, they wouldn't be allowed to do this. Furthermore, why is it that the government borrows all this money and you just people say, okay, would you give your credit card to a complete stranger and say, just go spend it on whatever you want, and it's okay, I'm on the hook for it? You follow me, people? And as easily put, it's like, sorry, we're not paying your fictitious taxes today. We're not paying any of that nonsense. We're not supporting you. And simply put, we're going to arrest you and throw you into jail. You know what I mean? Like, people, you know, it's like there's an old saying, and fear not, but faith answered. Okay? And when people, they think they're being peaceful But meanwhile, they're being peaceful and they're watching all this evil go by and they're not doing anything about it. I'm going to tell you something, people, okay? Peace will stand up to evil any day of the week, any time, any day, any minute, any second. It doesn't matter. Peace will stand up to bullshit and say, sorry, no. Would you allow evil in your house, right? So then why are you allowing people like the news stations in your house to talk about evil? You can hear how bad this is, right? Like, and then people are complacent. And then it's like, well, we can't do anything about it. It reminds me of years ago. I was having a conversation, and this was with this girl I was dating, her mother, and her mother, she's like, oh, I see what you and your friends are trying to do, but one person can't make a change. And I said to her, and I says, you go to school, you go to church? Oh, yeah, I go to church. I says, you worship a guy named Jesus? Oh, yeah, I worship a guy named Jesus. I said, well, I says, that's funny. Didn't one guy make a change? And oh my God, next thing you know, I don't feel so well. She had to go lay down and have a nap. Like, this is how serious the lies are, people. So, they're believing in a guy who stood up to the system, took on the man, took on these private bankers, stood up to the author of confusion himself, the guy named Satan, Shaitan, Iblis, whatever you want to call this monkey, right? Take the D out of devil, you have evil, let's call it what it is, it's evil. I don't care how you paint it or rose by any other name, people. And this is what's going on with society, okay? So anyhow, I'm getting a little off track here, but back on track. The bottom line is, please stop watching the news and stuff. And if you people want change, get together and decide in your neighborhoods what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. And like, for example, if you stole the candy bar, here's the double standards on the law again with their laws, right? These people in power have immunity, but you don't, right? They still say, like, your president steals a candy bar or he's a sexual predator. He's been charged and arrested for these offenses. And then meanwhile, he's allowed to go into other countries and talk about your country and trade in your political system. Do you guys see how preposterous this is? Okay, so anyhow, the solutions are always more simple than the problem is. Always. Satan is the author of confusion, and confusion confuses people, and then they remain inactive and they don't do anything about it, and they think that this is spiritual. And meanwhile, being spiritual will not tolerate bullshit, nor will it tolerate an ounce of evil. Okay, would you allow evil in your house? Okay, obviously no. Or a sexual predator? If you have children, obviously no. Or even if you don't have children, would you? Obviously not. So why would you allow sexual predators to run your business, which is your country? This is your country, people, not anybody else's. You people are the residents on the land, and it's time you take over this land and stop saying no to big oil. Stop saying no to these people who are looting and stealing and then protecting themselves by running a fictitious fiction of I Magi Nation, and that's all it is. It's a nation of Magi's, and you look up Magi, and you have deceiver, you have lie, spellcaster, future foreteller, and that's what the news is. Oh, if in the future everybody votes this way, this is the speculation, and speculation is the work of the devil. It's I Magi Nation, and everybody's part of the nation of Magi's. I Magi Nation, right? This stuff doesn't even exist. It's like your child. Your child is born, and already they're labeling your child as a United States citizen. They're already labeling your child as a debtor who's going to grow up, go to school, be programmed, learn their bullshit, and basically removed from everything that is natural to the child and thrown into a world that's completely unnatural, and then told that everything that is unnatural is actually natural. So now what is completely unnatural has now became so normalized. Look at the words normal, lies, right? Lies and deceit. And it's became normalized, and effectively now it's become accepted, and people make nothing about this. You follow me, people? This is how far away we've gotten from ourselves. And again, the news, all the news ever purports is sit in fear, be complacent, watch our garbage so we can bombard you with advertising and make advertising dollars. And That's it. And meanwhile, they're making money, and you think you're learning, but you take the L out of learning, and they're earning. It's this simple, people. These people say up, you know damn well it's down. If they say it's true, you know it's bullshit. If they say do this, well, you know not to do that, right? This is how simple things are, and even the power of doing it, nothing, is more powerful than the power of participating and helping and allowing evil to run its course. For example, if I want to support local farmers and that, well, all I have to do is stop shopping at Walmart. And clearly, you can see how fast, if everybody stops shopping at Walmart, who has the power? That's simple. You don't like $5 a liter or a gallon of gas? Well, again, who has the power? You guys do. And if you guys didn't show up to the pumps tomorrow and the day after and support their big wheel of evil commerce and fictitious debt in the Federal Reserve lending system, where they only need $1 to lend you 10, but then you're paying interest on $10, and 9 of that never existed to begin with. This whole thing is a fiction of imagination, and effectively put, we've stepped out of the Garden of Eden. We had everything we wanted in the garden, and then we said, no thanks, we want to go out and pay for it and slave for this stuff and have our children slave and their children slave, and we're just going to keep perpetuating the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. Can you see a problem with this? So please, people, like, only try to watch people who are giving you solutions and who are actually doing things. Stop watching people who do absolutely nothing for you, but you think you're learning what's going on in the world, and you take that out and they're earning because you're watching their shit, and that's generating advertising dollars. And these people, no different than sports athletes, they're making millions and millions of dollars. And meanwhile, we have a society that is starving. People that are sleeping out on the streets and they're starving. And then they'll say, but we don't have the money for this, but yet they'll borrow money and give that money to Israel so Israel can start trying to occupy other countries. And then Israel will say, well, don't you say anything about Israel because that's anti-Semitic, but yet they're doing the same thing the Nazis do, and they're Zionist Nazis, and even all these other countries. They have nothing against Jews and stuff like that, and Jews have nothing against them. But these Nazi Zionists, they pretend that they're Jews, and they're basically the authors of all this Satanism, and they clearly put they hate you, but that's who these people are at war with. They're not at war with normal people like you and I. They're at war with Nazi Zionists who actually hate everybody, and they think that you should just be their slave. And then too, they're making money off people killing each other, and it costs millions of dollars a piece for this bomb and this fighter jet, and billions. But meanwhile, again, people are starving and people don't have health care. Like, I offer you the solutions, and all you people have to do is come together and start saying, listen, we're done with these corrupt governments. Start arresting these individuals, hold them accountable, and say, sorry, we can't have your court process you because, well, you've bought the courts and they'll side in your favor. So you have to be judged by your peers. And that's that. People, please. The solution is simpler than the problem. They want you to be confused and think that because of this and because of this and because of this and because of this, that we can't effectively effectuate change. Well, we can, and I'm here to tell you so. And it's funny that people believe and worship in the Bible a guy that ran around trying to make the world a better place. The guy was effectively a fucking badass, never picked up a gun and stuff, but yet they don't live like this guy. This is the absurdity to it all, right? You follow me on this, people? I'm sorry. You have to laugh sometimes. Anyhow, I send you all green lights, and I've been babbling. Until then, please keep your heads up, your sticks on the ice. Namaste. Cheers.